And we are officially live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of NXTilosos, the sexiest NXT review show out there on the internet. Yes. I am Mikey, also known as El Jefe of BC WrestlePod, and joining me this evening is the Pleat Father himself, the Kilt Man in the building. Happy to have you here, my friend.
Always happy to be here. Always happy to be with you, reviewing wrestling in any show format.
I appreciate that. So the two of us are here to review last night's NXT episode, the go home NXT episode before No Mercy this weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun. So this was an interesting show because not only did it give us the other half of the No Mercy card, but it also started a new storyline that's probably going to carry us through a good chunk of the remainder of 2025. Very interesting, and we'll talk about it in little detail. Of course, we are missing Papa Oso tonight, who is very upset that he could not be here for NXT, but he sends his warm regards and his love, and he will also be I will get his predictions for No Mercy. So we are going to be going through the go home show quickly, and then we are going to make our predictions for No Mercy, and then we'll call it an evening. So before we get into all of that, however, a little bit of the announcements as we always do here in the beginning. If you like what you see on your screen, then we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTubes, follow us on Twitch or Kick, whatever your preferred video watching and or streaming content is. But we also understand that watching full-length reviews may not be in your wheelhouse, and we are here to give you a different option, which includes following us on your favorite social media site at BC WrestlePod, and interact with us on the socials because we do our report cards. We have previews of the shows each week. It is a grand time. It is a lot of fun. But there's also two other ways if you want to take that a step further, and you could support us financially. The first being, buying a merchandise from us, which all our merch has some sort of charity tie into it, which is fantastic. Link in the link to our shop is going to be in the chat as well as in the description of our live below. We are at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com, but we also have established a BC WrestlePod coffee where that link will be popping up here very shortly, where you can donate to your heart's content to help us keep the figurative and technically literal lights on in this building. So if that tickles your fancy, if you want to support us that way, then please do, because it's going to help us, pay for pay-per-views, get people new equipment. Like, we're trying to be better with all of this. And it's so
very much better. And here's
yeah.
my question real quick before we move any further. Is it coffee or is it Kofi? Because I've heard both.
I want to say Kofi, and I need them to change their icon to a funny picture of Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, it's great because I've always heard Kofi. And then like some people said coffee, but it's like, okay, well, it doesn't really make much sense because it's KO-FI. And I'm like, Kofi sounds better. And then as I'm sitting there asking this question to myself, because you're not the first person who said coffee this week for me. And I'm like, wait, we could just totally call this the Kingston. Anywho, as you were saying. Oh, and don't forget, also on Twitch, you can subscribe to us as well.
Yes, to get access to fun subscriber only emojis and things like that. It is a great time, y'all. We have fun here. But without further ado, let's just dive right into this. So we are going to be going through the go home episode of NXT first. And I kind of wanted to just focus on the major points because it was a very self-contained go home show. We're just like, hey, we're just going to set up the rest of our card for No Mercy and then set up what we're going to be doing for the remainder of the fall. So let's just dive right into that because we kick things off this week on NXT with a lights out match. So literally they turned the lights off and it was dark as all heck inside the, performance center, where we have Miles Bourne versus Lexis King. So this is the third ever lights out match in which, anything can happen, and it is crazy for sure. I was just like, I don't necessarily know or think that this feud warranted a lights out match, but hey, we got it, and I was thoroughly entertained. A lights out match on a random Tuesday episode of NXT was something that happened, and I thoroughly enjoyed it for sure. There's a lot of fun spots. Of course, we got chairs, we got through the barricade, darkness all around. Hello, darkness, my old friend. But ultimately, it would be Miles Bourne who would, after putting Lexus through a table, pick up the victory here. Kilt, what did you think of our lights out match to open up the show?
It was really weird. Like, I've seen how dark it gets in there. All right. And usually when they make it dark, it's about the darkness of my room right now. And that's like when they're not making it unnaturally dark. When they just turn off the main lights, they have like a little blue thing at the top, and it kind of looks kind of like this. But they made it a little bit darker, and I'm like, I could still see the action. I could still see a couple things here and there, and it was an interesting match to say the least. I'm kind of glad Miles Bourne won, only because it makes us go quicker and get off Mr. I'm from the 80s mullet.
I know, Lexus King, I'm just like, what are we doing with you? And
Lexus King's character looks like they decided, oh, look, Joe Dirt. Let me go and pick up Kid Rock's character from it.
oh my goodness. I'm really hoping this is it because we've been talking about this feud for the last like 2-3 months now. I was like, all right, time to move on for both of them. And hopefully let's get Miles into a championship program. Lexus can go off and do whatever Lexus does. So, interesting way to start the show. I was like, I'll take it. It's fine. So, no, for future reference, Ava, never let Robert Stone and Stevie Turner over here, do not leave them in charge anymore because they let a whole entire other roster come through at the end of the show. But this little segment,
you don't know that yet.
That is very true. But, as soon as I saw these two try to contact Ava about TNA stars popping up and it's cutting out for Ava, I was like, this is only going to go one way, and I'm here for it. So this is setting up for all the things that we would see later on with cameos of different wrestlers and things like that. So very interested to see. We're going to get to it when we talk about what happens at the end of the main event. But for the night, Robert Stone and Stevie Turner are in charge. And as we see, not just from our, other roster, but for the rest of the show, things kind of got out of hand a little bit. Just like this, Ethan comes out to cut a weird-ass promo, talks badly about what we assume was El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., of AAA. And then he has like an impromptu match that lasts like 15 seconds in which he taps out to an ankle lock, and then it's revealed that it's Tavion Heights. And I'm just like, I want Tavion to win so bad at No Mercy. But this told me that right here. I was like, I don't think Tavion's winning now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel that something's going to happen. Maybe Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. is going to come and, really put a hurt on someone for using him, quote unquote. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. There's going to be shenanigans in this match, and I'm going to be excited for it.
Yeah, something's bound to happen between this, these two at No Mercy this Saturday. So I'm just like, okay, we are going to see how that transpires. So yeah, I was like, wait, Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. So, of course, we will get into our predictions a little bit later in the show, but after this segment and impromptu match between Ethan and Tavion, wait, did I go too far? No, I did it. There we go. I pressed the button too many times. We get into our second match of the evening, which was another WWE Speed Championship #1 contender match. This match was under the contention of WWE Speed rules, and this was the finals between main roster's Candice LeRae and NXT's Lainey Reed. So again, if you are not familiar with the Speed match, there is a 3-minute time limit. Otherwise, it ends up in a draw. So Candice and Lainey had the 3-minute time limit to try to pick up the victory. And ultimately, Lainey Reed would be the one who wins and is now heading to No Mercy this Saturday to face Sol Ruka for her and WWE Women's Speed Championship. Kilt, what did you think of our finals for the Speed Championship #1 contender tournament?
That was a really short tournament, but then again, it's it's a short match, anyways. It was a little all over the place. The one thing I do miss about being in-house when they're doing matches is no commentary. Because sometimes the commentary takes me out of the match. Which is, it's weird to say because we're so used to having that. We're so used to be on this side of the equation and not really being in there. And then when I'm in there, it's like it's all match. I can focus on the match and I can look and not really critique, but I can better judge it. And then like I'm sitting there listening to what's his name talk and yap and yap and yap and yap and yap. Then Booker coming in with a couple of words here and there, and it's like, okay, guys, cool. Can you shut the fuck up so I can focus? My ADHD is going hard.
Well, I mean, thankfully, with your ADHD, the 3-minute time limit is a thing for speed matches. Lainey Reed again wins. She's going to face Sol Ruka this Saturday at No Mercy. So I was like, okay, so I'm very interested. The fact that we're getting a speed championship match at a pay-per-view, and that match is not even going to be 3 minutes or less.
5 minutes.
That's true. 5. There we go.
The final match is 5 minutes long, according to what the commentary said last night. And the only thing I gotta say is, I got later on in the show they had Lainey Reed and I think it's something Kincaid. Christy Kincaid
and Kelly Kincaid.
I think so. It's a redhead interviewing a redhead, and I'm like, well, there's my dream right there.
Your intrusive thoughts made it out.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I'm like, oh, it was two beautiful women.
You horny boy. Anyways, so again,
horny, lonely, whatever. Anyway, but no, it was still a good match. I enjoyed it.
Been listening to that Pink song a lot recently. You and Your Hand Tonight.
Shut up.
Love you too. But again, fun match for what it was. Lainey versus Sol is set for No Mercy, and we will see how that all transpires this weekend. We get another match that was kind of made earlier in the show. Like Jordynne Grace wants to fight Ariana because, Ariana passively aggressive mentioned that, anybody who would come up against this new version of Blake Monroe is scared. So Jordynne's like, hey, Ariana, I have a great idea. Both of us have the last name Grace, so let's make sure that the world knows the difference between the two. And Jordynne beat her ass. Essentially, this was a squash match.
It was a good squash match. And then, the announcement of what's going to happen on Saturday between Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe. It's the only way I remember it most of the time. I have to sit there and go, Blake Monroe, and I just channel my inner Adolfo. And but this is going to be such a good match. Like, I'm excited for this. Usually when you get cage matches, it's very unlikely you'll get weapons involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually high-flying, goofy shit, or if you're freaking Io Sky, you put yourself inside of a trash can and do a moonsault off the top rope, or top of the cage. Or, well, technically it wouldn't be a moonsault. It would be more of a raccoon splat. Or trash panda curl, whatever.
So, I mean, you pretty much said it. So, after Jordynne Grace beats Ariana Grace, Blake comes out with a kendo stick. Jordynne grabs a chair. They begin fighting, and they're pulled apart by security. Robert Stone and Stevie Turner come out, and they announce that at No Mercy, it's going to be Jordynne Grace versus Blake Monroe in a weaponized steel cage match, which should be really, really fun and really, really good. And I'm like, damn, we escalated this feud, but I'm here for it. So that's another match that's a new match that got made for this Saturday. So I'm super excited to see these two fight in the weaponized steel cage. Should be a good time. I really love this promo. And I'm just
She's
like,
got no ass. She's got no ass.
somebody. So for those of you who had a childhood during a certain decade, someone compared JC Jane to Plank from Ed, Ed and Eddie. I'm like, oh
God
my
damn.
god. I was like, roast her. But this was a
No,
really
she
good.
wait, hold on. She can't be Plank. She's too pale.
Ooh. But this promo was actually really good between the two of them. Of course, JC is really good on the mic. I think her mic skills have gotten a lot better. Lola, I love this version of Lola that we're getting to, and I'm just like, I swear to God, NXT Lola needs to win. I feel like this is the time. Let Lola win, but who knows, because JC is a pretty good champion and a pretty fun champion right now. But we get the back and forth. JC just, downplaying Lola and saying that, she's not going to. Lola is out here, first of all, after telling us this is like, at least I have an ass to shake, which I was like, damn. Anyways,
Exactly.
but I love this intensity and this fire from Lola. And I'm just like, I I think JC might retain, but I really hope that NXT finally puts the title on Lola. I think Lola is so much fun. The build that we've been getting to and the emotional heartstrings that NXT has been pulling with her, two segments that we got of her and her family and everything. I'm like, I swear to God, if you don't put this title on her NXT, I'm gonna be kind of upset with you right now. So again, they might be playing me. JC might retain, but gosh darn it, I'm going like Lola. I want her to win. This was a really effective promo between the two.
It was great. It was fantastic. Hey, she should get the title, and then she should develop a new move called the Lola Vice, where she just squeezes her opponent's like legs and like put it basically an arm bar, except your head's between her legs too.
Hmm.
You can put me in that Lola Vice all day. Anywho, moving along.
Anyways, so while Kilt is out here horny on Maine, and I hear the Pink song in the background,
I gotta be the booker, okay? I gotta be the Booker T of the group.
that is very true. You are the horny on Maine. But after this promo segment, we get a match that I didn't really care for. So this was Dark State versus the team of Joe Hendry and Chase U. So I hated how we got this match earlier in the night, and I was just like, okay, Joe Hendry be trying, man. Joe Hendry be trying, but Dark State, no matter what Joe Hendry does, Dark State is still getting the one up on Joe. They beat Hank and Tank. They beat Chase U. So I'm like, Joe's about to turn tailcoat when we get to the main event, y'all. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I just didn't care for this match. I still don't care about Dark State as a faction. They still do nothing for me. They're trying with them, but I need to get more before I fully buy into these guys. I'm not the biggest fan of Dark State right now.
Yeah, it's kind of mediocre. The match was weird. I hope they did really good on the makeup for what's his face, Chase U.
For Andre Chase.
Showing a bust up face. I'm like, that's really good because he didn't have that much of an issue, but oh goddamn. This is kind of meh. Like it was interesting to say the least, but it was not it was an interesting match. I will say that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, so Dark State gets the win over Joe Hendry and Chase U. So we'll see where these guys go post No Mercy. Still need a little bit more from them, but I digress. Well, this was fascinating. So Javon is getting, interviewed backstage when a loud crash happens. And then we pan over to find out that somebody has taken out Jasmine Nix. I'm like, oh no, who could have done it? And Fallon's like, I literally walked away for a minute and somebody already attacked her. And JC's like, what the hell happened, you guys? And JC's like, you know what? Good. She deserved to get an attack. We don't need her. Let's go. Which I was like, well, damn, they kicked her out of the group. And then the news broke today that Jasmine is letting her contract, expire, and she's not signing back with NXT and WWE. She made a whole TikTok video explaining why. And I was just like, all right, then. So now it's just Fallon and JC and Fatal Influence. Jasmine is not coming back. And I was just like, damn, Jasmine. I was just like, good luck on your future endeavors, girl. Love you.
I think it's kind of dirty that the way they did that. And it wasn't. I don't like how that happened.
Yeah, it's a lazy way to write somebody off if they're quitting.
Not even a lazy way to write someone off. It's so demeaning to the character. Like, oh, I didn't want her here anyways. Fuck off. And then she's no longer part of the company. I'm like,
damn,
dude. Like, that's fucked up.
So I'm like, okay, that's a little rude, but good luck, Jasmine, on your future endeavors. Now it's just JC and Fallon for Fatal Influence. Gonna be interesting to see what happens next post No Mercy. But we got to move on, though, because we get into what is the main event, which I already knew shenanigans were going to happen because there is no way either one of these men are walking out as double champ by the end of this match. So we get a winner-take-all match for our NXT Championship and our TNA World Championship. So the NXT champ, Obafemi, versus the TNA World champ, Trick Williams. I'm just like, I hate that Trick Williams is getting another shot at the NXT Championship. Shenanigans are going to go down. And shenanigans do indeed go down because as the match progresses, we slowly start getting more and more TNA stars like in the crowd, around the ring, just watching everything unfold. And then Trick Williams comes out to commentary where Mike Santana was, gets in Mike's face. Mike throws a punch, causes the DQ, which then has the entire TNA locker room, or at least a majority of it, come down to the ring, start beating up on everyone, which forces some of the NXT locker room to come in to start this big brawl. Meanwhile, while this TNA versus NXT brawl is happening, Ricky Saints and Obafemi come face to face with the championship and remind us, be like, hey, so Ricky and Oba is happening at No Mercy. I was just like, this is a cluttered ending, y'all. Like, this was wild.
It was so cluttered. I'm like, who's fighting who? Where did Matt Cardona disappear to? Oh, wait, there he is.
Right.
It's like, god damn.
So we talked about this last week when, we were heavy-handedly told by commentary team about, the TNA stars commenting on Homecoming and how they felt like they were being disrespected. And I'm just like, y'all know something's going to go down this episode. And sure enough, it did. So here's the thing. So Papa Oso and I have a very unique situation where both of us cover and watch NXT and TNA. So we watch both shows and we cover both shows here. I am cautiously optimistic because I think invasion angles can be a really fun idea if it is done right. However, because I am cautiously optimistic, I am still afraid that by the end of this, NXT is going... I'm not expecting TNA to walk out as the winner of this war, to be perfectly honest. But I do believe that they will possibly win some of the major battles. My biggest fear is that NXT is going to completely dominate this, going into this alleged NXT versus TNA pay-per-view the week before Survivor Series. And I'm just like, I need TNA to pick up some wins because the matches themselves are going to be fun. But knowing WWE, I am so afraid that they're going to let NXT sweep and TNA's not going to get a lick in except for maybe Trick and the Mike Santana with Mike getting the title back. But color me intrigued. I'm intrigued by this. I'm just worried that the Fed is not going to actually be fair about this whole entire thing.
Well, even then, it's like when they brought Mike Santana out to sit at the booth, to sit at the desk with what's his face and Booker. because I'm going to refer to him as what's his face and Booker because I just don't like his style of commentary. Um,
Right.
I'll learn his name later. I really don't care.
Vic Joseph.
Yes, him. Um, but it was really dry. His lines weren't. He was really dry on commentary. Like he was really quiet. He was like, yeah, I'm here for a reason, but I really don't want to talk about the reason, and I'm just trying to sit here and blah blah blah. Dude, you're just like I knew why you were here when you came out. I knew when you jumped the fence and you kind of got puffed your chest out and you know put the headphones on, took your jacket off, said, "Hey, I want to join you guys." I knew what you were doing.
It's like, calm down.
You should calm down. Your commentary is garbage. You need to work on it. It's not like cutting a promo. You have to have banter and you have to have connection. And in, like him and Booker kind of like doing, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Who's on first? What's on second? Bullshit. And it's like, dude, come on. This is just weak. This is weak build up to what we all know is coming. And then it came. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, so I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm actually really hoping that this program between NXT versus TNA is going to be fun and it's going to be entertaining. But when all is said and done, I'm worried. Like they always are when, WWE, the Fed plays with other companies. It's never truly, tit for tat. It's always the WWE is going to get the majority of things. So I'm like, whatever, man. But that brings us to the end of NXT. We have TNA tomorrow night. TNA's pay-per-view is this weekend, so I would not be surprised if if the NXT folks want to get the lick back at that pay-per-view. Should be interesting to say the least. But that takes us to the end of our NXT review portion of the show. But we are not quite done yet this evening because now we get into our predictions for No Mercy. So, if you are new here at BC WrestlePod, when we do our go home show reviews, we also make our predictions for the pay-per-views. We have 4 leagues, which includes WWE main roster, NXT, TNA, and AEW. So the 3 of us, in terms of myself, the Pleat Father, and Papa Oso, we are going to make our predictions for No Mercy. So we're going to just go through. Again, we got 3 more matches made tonight. So we had 3 and they're like, this card's looking a little empty. So let's get the rest of these made. So let's just go through them really quickly. The first match up is going to be, it's just a regular match. It doesn't seem no stipulation. Josh Briggs versus Javon Evans. Just because out of spite, I'm picking Javon because Javon has been on the losing end since entering this program with Josh, and I'm kind of hoping Javon picks up a victory here. So I'm going to go with Javon on this one.
Our boy is bouncy, and you know what? He's going to bounce all over Josh Briggs. I don't like his character. I know he doesn't give a shit about that, but you know what? This fat podcaster who likes to sit in the crowd and watch knows you're a garbage person, or a garbage character. So let's go our bouncy boy.
Which, by the way, I didn't include that. We didn't talk about it during the review because I didn't want to, but I was just like, we're trying too hard to break the fourth wall in this character, but it is what it is.
Yeah, they really are. It's like, I don't care what y'all think. Dude, chill.
I'm like, sir, calm down.
You've already got your heel. You've already got your heat for being a heel. Fuck off.
100%. So, next match up that we're going to discuss is going to be, hang on, let me get there. There we go. Our weaponized steel cage match, Jordan Grace versus Blake Monroe. I am going with Jordan on this one because since it's a weaponized steel cage match, these women are going to go to war. Blake won their first encounter back at Heatwave, so I think Jordan wins this one, and we get one more match between these two. So I'm going with Jordan Grace on this one.
I'm definitely going with the meat muffin. You know, with her background, this is almost right up her alley as it is. Yeah, she's gonna just
for reals. So after this, the next four matches are all championship matches. The first one being for our WWE Speed Women's Championship. Sol Ruka defending her speed title against Lainey Reed. I am going with Sol Ruka because Sol Ruka is great. And I don't think she's going to lose this right here. So I'm going with Sol to retain.
Like, I want Soul to retain, and that's what I'm choosing. But because she is a double champion,
Right.
I have a feeling that they're going to give it to Lainey.
True.
Now, I'm not against this. I like. I'm not. This is mostly like I think my second or third time, it being introduced to Lainey. I like her, but I would prefer Soul to keep the championship. If Lainey gets it, great. It'll probably be with some shenanigans or something. I don't know. I'm not going to guess until we're sitting there watching it. And but yeah, I got Soul.
Cool. Alrighty. So then next up, we got our NXT North American Championship match. Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights. I really want Tavion to win, but I am going to be honest because Tavion was standing tall at the end of the show. I don't think he's going to win, so therefore I'm going to pick All Ego Ethan Page here to retain the championship.
I agree that, but I want in my hardest of hearts to have Tavion win because I have a feeling that if he does win, he's going to turn that belt into something like Olympic themed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be so cool because, it's supposed to be the North American Championship. So why don't we just put some North America total, not just, but as we said earlier, and as you just mentioned, I do think Ethan most likely will retain it due to a DQ, like probably from Hijo de
Dr. Wagner Jr.
Dr. Wagner Jr. Little one, Spanish and German at the same time. Can't do that. You know how hard it is to do that? That's difficult. The fact that I know I'm not going to try it anymore. Anyway, but no, I have Tavion for the win.
Yeah. So very interested to see what happens here. So moving on into our fifth match on the card, which is for the NXT Women's Championship. This is JC Jane defending her title against Lola Vice. Just by default, because of how they're building her, I feel like it would be a crime if they did not put the title on Lola. So I am going with Lola. I'm going with my heart on this one. I think Lola as champion, it's time for her. And JC has been fun as champion, but the way that we built Lola, I was just like, why would you build her up like this if you're not going to give her the title? Like, come on, girl. So I'm going with Lola in this one.
I think Lola's going to put Plank in the vice and snap her. And she's going to win. I have Lola on this. Them hips don't lie. They need that belt.
Very, very true. So then finally, what's probably going to end up main eventing the show is our NXT Championship match. Oba Femi defending his title against Ricky Saints. At this point, Oba has gone through every single man in this NXT locker room. And I'm just like, as much as I want Ricky to win, given the fact that we are doing NXT versus TNA coming up very soon, I think NXT is going to need all their champions to be on the same page. Not to say that Ricky's not going to be on the same page, but I think Oba Femi is going to still be champ going into this TNA versus NXT feud. So I got Oba Femi retaining here. I really want a new champion, but it is what it is. But I got Oba retaining.
If the TNA war wasn't present, I would probably go with Ricky Saints.
Same here,
because that would give them the chance to push Oba into the main roster, which would be great for Oba because then he could just wipe the floor with the Bronze and everyone else.
Yep.
Because I would love to see a rival faction for the Vision with Oba Femi as one of the faction leaders. Like, that would be great for me personally.
100%.
But there'll be some funky wonky Oba will retain, and I have a feeling that it'll be a situation of, look, now we have to deal with TNA, so let's move on. But even when they transition Oba either to main roster, or if Oba decides not to continue and like ends his contract, his contract ends and he moves somewhere else, because it's the only thing I could think of besides him moving up. It's the only way for Oba to go.
Right. So that brings us to the end of our NXT No Mercy predictions. The show is this Saturday, September 27th, and next Wednesday, we will be here to review No Mercy. So we got a lot of things stacked up. We have No Mercy, we have Halloween Havoc in October, and then, of course, this TNA versus NXT pay-per-view. Should be very interested. But that's going to be it for us here at NXTilosos. Before we sign off for the evening, let's go over what the remainder of the week looks like so y'all can tune in or check out the replays of the lives or when the edited versions go up. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming at you for the remainder of the week. So later tonight, we have a CMLL review. We will be reviewing CMLL's 92nd Aniversario show, which is the biggest show for our Lucha Libre Federation, and that is at 8 p.m. Pacific tonight. Then tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific, get ready to laugh because JVL, myself, Jesse, and our newest co-host Benny are diving into the world of comedy wrestling as we review Mystery Wrestling 18. So we got lots of things happen. We had a bunny, we had a cocaine bear, we had some innuendos, we had Simon Miller's beautiful baldness on commentary. It was great. So make sure to tune in tomorrow night for that review. Then on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, the TNA boys are going to be here. Not only are we going to be reviewing the Go Home show of TNA, but we will be making our predictions for Victory Road, which is happening this weekend. But also, I'm pretty sure all the boys have some things to talk about, especially with the news that came out about what's going on with Masha Slamovich. So we're going to try to get all that together, and we're going to have a conversation, and that is on Friday evening. Then we wrap up the weekend. Sunday is our at 11:30 a.m. Pacific is our WWE review for Dual Dynasty, where we talk about Raw and SmackDown. Anybody who was here on Monday for WrestlePalooza knows how we're feeling right now, but we're still going to have a good time and talk about it because at least we're going to continue to do so till the end of 2025. But then tune in at 6 p.m. Pacific, where I will be doing a live watch along for MLW's Fury Road. Remember, all the MLW shows are free on YouTube, so it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of CMLL crossover. We are continuing, and this is going to lead into Slaughterhouse, which is this upcoming weekend, in the next weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's a lot of stuff happening this week. Thank you so much for tuning into NXTilosos. Me and Kilt are going to get up on out of here, but thank you so much for tuning in. Next Wednesday, we will be doing a review for No Mercy and briefly touching upon the NXT episode, if anything of importance happened on there. But we are going to get up on out of here. So thank you so much from all of us here at BC WrestlePod. Remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you later tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific for our CMLL review. But until then, this is Sayonara. Adios, and until next time, peace.